Hello everybody, you don't know who I am because I'm just a nobody. That's not important. What's important is the game I'll be playing today, which is Invite Me In. Now this is a horror visual novel about a yandere, so your discretion is advised. And this is just the demo version, and according to the creator it's only about a tenth of what the full version will be, so let's just see what this is. And this is a horror game demo that contains content made to induce fear. It is not recommended for those who are easily disturbed. If needed, please read the content warnings before continuing. Let's read the content warnings. This game contains yandere behavior, stalking, manipulation, harassment, and violent tendencies, self-harm, blood, violence, suggestive themes, sudden tone shifts, and other material made to induce fear. If you are sensitive to any of these materials, please reconsider playing. So if this doesn't sound like a game for you, then maybe we'll go watch another video. But I'm gonna get started. So I have to know your name. You can call me Nobody. As the sun finally sets, the lengthening shadows all begin to bleed together until everything is covered in darkness. My path is only illuminated by the occasional street light, and I start to become nervous again, like something bad is about to happen if not treated with caution. I start picking up my pace as I get closer to my home. I didn't plan to be out for so long, especially not at night all by myself. The grocery store bag clutched tightly in my hand seems much heavier, even though it only carries the sole jug of milk that I desperately needed before leaving the house earlier. Why do you need a bag to carry a jug of milk? Just carry the milk. Don't waste the bag. Now I'm wondering if it was really worth the trip. Turning the corner just leads to another dark road. I debate whether I should slow down to prevent tripping or just break out into a run here and now. But it's just a couple more blocks, then I'll be back at home. For some reason nagging at the back of my mind, that didn't feel like an appealing solution either. Something dangerous really was just out of view. Going back to an empty house was just like throwing a blanket over your head to keep the monsters away. It's moments like this I wish I didn't live alone. But I'm probably just anxious for no reason. I don't have any evidence that someone is really trying to hurt me. Just these paranoid feelings in the back of my mind that I should ignore. I really have to stop trying to freak myself out. All it's doing is causing me to lose sleep, which makes me more on edge. Focusing on getting home is the only thing I need to worry about for now. Then I can eat dinner, chill out, and finally get some much needed rest. Ooh. Ominous shadow of a human being. Just as I was about to turn down the last street, I see a figure sitting next to the sidewalk a few feet in front of me. Just run, just pretend you don't see him and bolt into a sprint. I immediately stop walking and try to get a better look before getting any closer. I hear the blood start to pulse faster in my ears. They're almost fully hidden from you, so I didn't have much of a chance to see them from further away, and they're perfectly still. I feel the fear rising in me again and stay frozen in the same spot, my muscles tense, waiting to see if the stranger makes a move. They do nothing, and since it's so dark, I can't even tell if they have seen me or not, though I keep getting the feeling that they're staring right at me. It's terrifying, but I can't just stand here forever. I want to go home. Swallowing the lingering morbid thoughts and stirring up some bravery, I begin to walk again until I'm only a couple of feet away from the stranger. Your hair is the exact same color as the shrubbery behind you. Once I'm closer, I can finally make out some of the vague details of their face, his face, and we make eye contact. I flinch back a bit after seeing him look at me, but then I start to notice something strange. He's curled up in the grass, clutching his arms tightly to his body, and I begin to hear his heavy, uneven breaths over my own. He's hurt, badly. How do you know that? Maybe, I don't know, he's just, like, really excited. on the ground or something. As soon as I see the state he's in, I'm not only more worried than before, but now also heavily concerned for his well-being. Hello? Can you hear me alright? Are you okay? What happened? For a moment, he just keeps looking at me. His expression is unreadable this far from any light source, but he must feel scared too. He doesn't respond. At this point, I feel he may be really, really injured. Maybe he can't even understand me. Just as I reach into my pocket to try and call for help, he finally speaks up. Something happened to me earlier. I was just trying to walk home and I'm a bit hurt right now. A bit hurt? He doesn't seem like he's doing well at all. Do you need help? Can you walk? He leans forward and begins to push up on his arms like he is trying to stand up, but he quickly winces and sits back to his original position. It hurts. My arms really hurt. My legs are okay though. How did you hurt your arms? Is anything broken? Broken? I didn't break anything. He shifts uncomfortably on the ground, trying to move his body to a more upright position. He looks at me a bit nervous. It's easier to see his face like this. He has red eyes, that's not a good sign. And his face is a bit cute too. Yeah. I didn't notice it before. This guy has such nice wavy hair and pretty eyes. I feel kind of bad focusing on that, but the realization truly caught me off guard. My eyes shift away to focus on anything else. I shouldn't be thinking about this, and instead try to find out how to help him. I must seem so rude right now. Please don't think I'm acting weird. Is everything alright? Oh god, he thinks I'm acting weird. Everything's totally fine. I'm just a bit squeamish about broken bones is all. You don't have to worry. My arms aren't broken, just a bit hurt. Well, okay, I'm glad it's not that bad then. You should really be more careful. Getting injured on the side of the road this late is really dangerous. You're right. I'm really glad you're the one who came along. It seems like I had nothing to worry about earlier. To think I was so scared of him. I thought I was going to end up being mugged or murdered, but it ended up being a total overreaction. Now I'm just having a normal conversation with a stranger sitting in the grass. Well, that isn't too normal, but I still don't really know anything about him, and he still seems pretty worried too. Would really like to know more about him too. I should try to calm him down a bit more so I can help better. He isn't going to tell me anything like this. What's your name? My name it's Devin. He seems really shy about it. I feel kind of bad asking now. That's a really nice name. It suits you. You literally don't know anything about him. There's no way. I think your name is much nicer. My name? Wait, what? How do you know my name? I didn't tell it to you yet. Oh, you didn't? I'm sorry, I must have thought you said it already and it slipped my mind. I feel a bit embarrassed. I hope you don't think I'm insincere now that I complimented something I didn't even know, but I'm certain your name is nice. That's all I was trying to say. Sorry to confuse you. It's fine. I was just a bit caught off guard. So, what is your name? I feel a bit hesitant to tell him now, but I really shouldn't fault him for an honest mistake. It's Nobody. Nobody. That is a nice name, just like I guessed. Is it, though? Devin is now more focused on his sudden blunder than the pain he's in, which is a bright side. It seems that conversation helped a bit, even if somewhat awkwardly. He looks off to the side, trying to distract himself. Talking to a stranger like me seems to make him pretty nervous. As a sort of anxious reflex, he begins to mess with the sleeves of his sweater. He just ends up wincing in pain after pulling on them too hard. Seeing someone be so miserable like this, I can't stop myself from asking him about it one more time. Do your arms still hurt to move? Yeah. Devin tries to move his arms again, then gives up quickly. He pulls them back into his lap in a comforting position. Will he be able to make it back somewhere safe soon? It's horrible, his arms hurt too much to even make it home. I feel the best way to just hurry up this interaction is to help him out quickly, then head on home. And the more he sits here in the dark, the more feelings of pity begin to surface. Talking to him has been a bit weird, but I can't help the gnawing feeling of concern for some reason. I feel bad just leaving you here like this. No, just a wave goodbye and go on home with your milk. Here, let me help you walk a bit closer to your house. You shouldn't have to sit here in the dark. My house is still a bit of a walk away. I should be fine. I feel better already after talking to you. It seems I may have been a bit too worried after all. At least let me walk you to a bench nearby to rest. It's better for you than just sitting on the ground. You'll help me? I really appreciate that. I just need some help standing up. Then I'll be okay to move on my own. Helping him out seemed like an easy enough offer, but actually finding a good way to lift him up gracefully was a harder task than I guessed. Setting down my grocery bag of lonely milk on the sidewalk, I walk a bit closer to Devin. We both look at each other, trying to figure out the best way to go about this. I want to lift him up without hurting him or making him uncomfortable. Eventually, he moves his legs until they're bent under him, almost in a kneeling position. Then I move beside him, wrapping my arms around his torso. As I increase the pressure of my hold on him, his breathing becomes even more labored and unsteady. His body becomes incredibly tense despite how carefully I try to lift. Are you okay? I'm trying to not touch your arms too much, but let me know if anything hurts. Yes, his throbbing heart hurts a lot right now. It really doesn't hurt that bad. I can barely feel it. Feeling a bit more reassured after knowing he's okay, I give one final lift until he's up on his feet. We did it. Hopefully you're all good to go now. No, I should really be heading, but before I can even finish what I was about to say, Devin begins to wobble over after trying to stand on his own. I quickly reach back over to hold him steady, and he ends up leaning back into my arms, clutching my shoulders to keep from falling. What happened? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you sure? I can call someone for you or get you a ride to a clinic if something is wrong. I think it's just my blood pressure after sitting there too long. I'm fine, honestly fine. How long have you been sitting on the road? Do you think you can try walking on your own, or is that too much? I think I need a bit more time before walking on my own. I can just sit back down if it's too much trouble for you. I'd be lying if I said I'm not a bit tempted to take him up on the offer, but a small sense of guilt stops me from being back on my promise to help him. It's not too much trouble at all. If you're okay with it, you can lean on me while we walk to the bench. I don't know how much you feel like moving right now. If I have your support, I'll be okay to move. Okay, I'll try to walk slowly and not put too much strain on you again. We move in a side-by-side position where his arm is over my shoulder as I wrap my arm around his back. The walk continues at a steady pace as we get halfway down the street. I feel Devin's breathing as he pushes against me for stability. It seems to still be quick and heavy. His body also feels cold and damp. Just how long has he been there by himself? Is he really okay? I look over to glance at Devin's face, which is completely pale with a small smile creeping onto his lips. The image is almost frightening with the state he's in. If it's frightening, then just throw him onto the sidewalk and run away. Like he doesn't even know how bad his condition is. No, like he doesn't even care. He notices me staring, and his unreadable gaze meets mine in an instant. It feels he can read every thought and intention running through my mind. Suddenly, his eyes soften as his grin turns more friendly, but the off-putting paleness is still there. You really are too kind to me, even helping me walk. For a second, I can't move. I can hardly breathe while looking at him directly. As I said, no trouble. I have to force myself to turn away from him and continue to focus on walking. But I can still feel him right next to me as my heart hammers faster in my chest, and I pray he doesn't notice. Maybe I'm just imagining it. Maybe it's because we've met in such a weird situation, but he looks at me differently than anyone else I've ever met. I strengthen my resolve and begin to push forward again. We finally get to the end of the street and turn the last corner. The bench is just a few feet away. Here we are. You should be able to rest right over there. I gently pull him over until he's able to safely sit down on his own. He seems a bit shaken up still, but he's much better off on a clean bench near a streetlight than on the ground in the dark. Thank you for taking me all the way here. It was so considerate of you. Even though Devin says that, he doesn't look relieved at all. I feel a bit guilty ending it like this, but just how much more can I really do? Hell, he didn't even want me to do this much. I'm glad I could help. I really hope you feel better soon. It was nice to meet you, Devin. Just as I'm about to walk away, his hand suddenly grabs mine. Let go of me, maybe that's too straightforward. But I don't want him... Yeah, I think somewhat... middle of the road. I have to head home soon, but is everything okay? I look down at our hands as he slowly lets go of mine. I guess he grabbed my hand without thinking because he quickly places his hand back in his lap nervously. Sorry, I just thought you should know. Your grocery bag. My grocery bag? You left your grocery bag behind earlier. It's still on the sidewalk. I look down at my empty hands and realize that, yes, I did leave my milk behind. I had nearly gone home without the one thing I came outside for. I guess it is easy to forget stuff after the eventful evening I just had, but I still feel a bit silly. Wow, I really did forget all about it. Thanks for reminding me, Devin. I'm gonna go run back and grab it now. I'll see you on my way back. Before he has much of a chance to answer, I start running to the street corner we just came from. I make a turn and begin walking back down the previous road to where I left my milk. I'm really glad that Devin said something because I would have felt so ridiculous once I got home. It was the only reason I came out here and went through this wild evening after all. It only takes me a few seconds to find the lonely bag sitting on the sidewalk. Milk Supreme. All your favorite milk. Is it coconut milk? The time makes me realize just how slow we were walking before. A distance that felt like it took ages to traverse was really a short jog. I quickly glance over the milk to make sure it's still in good condition, and the jug looks perfectly fine. It was only out here by itself for a minute, but better to check than drink bad milk. I scoop up the bag in my arms and start heading back. I should really say bye to Devin before heading home and check on him one last time. I run back to the bench and see him sitting there just as I left him. Well, something seems a bit off. He seems just as unwell as ever. In fact, he's not even looking at me now. Is he ready for me to just leave now? Or does he even know I'm here? I step a bit closer to him so I'm right in front of him, and I try to duck down to get one last look at his face. Well, I got my milk, so I guess I'll be headed back home now. As I said before, it was nice to meet you. Get home safe, alright? Just as I'm about to leave, I finally notice the dark stains forming all over his sleeves and onto the rest of his clothes. Blood. Earlier they were small enough that they could be mistaken for shadows, especially in the dim light, but now it seems much more obvious. Is that blood? Now it's impossible to ignore it. Panic hit me like an anvil as I feel my heart drop. I looked down at the arm I had used to help support his body when we walked over here. There was a smudge of crimson streaked across my hand that I didn't see earlier. How did you not notice your hand is covered in blood? He was bleeding. He was bleeding so much. It didn't seem possible. How did I not notice how bad it was? There was blood dripping down his hands now. Did I make it worse? Did I hurt him while carrying him here? No, I didn't mean to hurt him. Will he be alright? I lifted Devin's shoulders to look at his face. His eyes seemed hazy, like he might pass out soon. You need to get to the hospital immediately. I'll call an ambulance. Why didn't you tell me you were bleeding this much? What happened to you? It's just a bit of blood. A bit of blood? This seems like much more than a bit. Is it really that bad? Are you worried about me? Yes, now just show me how you got injured. I walk closer and try to reach over to grab his hand. Suddenly, Devin moves up from the bench and stands in front of me. Nobody, please just listen to me. I need help, but Devin seems to inhale deeply like he's trying to rise all the courage and willpower he has. I want to rush over to help him sit back down safely, but I feel frozen in place. I just examine his face, waiting for a sign to grab and steady him again. His eyes glance at mine, shifting from assessing to pleading, like he really wants to, needs to, tell me something. He still seems physically weak, but it's almost like he's even more energized now. Like something in the past few seconds totally revitalized his conviction. We both wait as he finally gets his bearings. Will you please hear me out? I hesitate a bit, but my curiosity and suspicion makes me want to hear why he's been acting so strange this whole time. Maybe he does have a good reason and I can't deny he truly needs help. Yeah, I'll listen. Ooh. Devin steps a bit more into the light and raises his arms halfway into the air. It's like he's trying to reveal the injury without moving his sleeves, like he's trying to shield me from just how bad it is. But all I see is more blood, and he seems to sense my concern. I didn't want to worry you too much, but it seems the state I'm in looks quite bad. To be honest, it hurts really bad too. He grimaces as he looks down at his arms. Maybe he didn't even let himself think of how painful it was before. I didn't want you to know. My arms are so much worse than I let on. Then why don't you let me call for help? Someone did this to me. They're trying to hurt me. Someone hurt you? Who? Devin looks at me with a pained expression, then he stares at his arms again, looking at the stains forming along his sleeves. A stalker? A stalker? What, are you being serious right now? I feel my blood begin to run cold. Out of all things, a stalker. It's true. I didn't really know what was happening until it was too late. Next thing I know, I'm on the side of the street and bleeding. My arms hurt so much, but I couldn't move. I was afraid I was going to be found again and killed. But then you found me instead, and I felt safe. I hope you understand, but I really can't go to the hospital like this. I can tell my attacker would know that's where I need to go, and they'd try to find me there. So I'm too afraid, just the thought of it happening. I was about to argue with Devin, but seeing the fear in his eyes and the way his body is shaking, I don't have the heart to disagree. No, you have to disagree. He's actively bleeding out right now. He could faint at any moment. Just send him to the hospital and tell, the staff that there's a stalker and ask for some security or something. It's much better than whatever you're going to do that's going to get you killed in like a minute. It's okay, Devin. I understand. You're not going to call for help, right? That's a big red flag. No, not if you don't want me to, but why can't we call the police? You might be in real danger. Police? I really don't think that's a good idea. It makes me too nervous. Plus, I don't even think they would take me seriously after not believing me before. Looking at the blood continuing to drip from his hands, I feel it's hard to not take Devin seriously at this moment. But if he feels so certain about it, I shouldn't doubt him about this either. There has to be some solution, right? He can't just deal with this by himself and risk getting hurt even more. I want him to be able to get help. His life could be at risk. I don't think I could go home only to see him on the news tomorrow. Then what are we supposed to do? You can't keep walking around like that. I just need someplace safe. I really don't think I can just be home alone while someone is after me. Then, if there were some basic medical supplies, I could make it work. I've patched myself up from worse. It feels like an inadequate solution, but my mind is racing too much to think of a good alternative myself. I may end up regretting this later, but one thing I know for sure, I can't just leave him like this. I may be terrified, but that's nothing compared to what Devin is going through at this moment. I've been on edge the past few weeks with thoughts someone has been watching me, but he's been living it. I feel a bit silly trying to relate. I can't help but feel a sense of connection though, like it was fate that I happened to be the one here to help him. If anyone would know what it's like to live with this fear and how it can affect you, it would be me. And wouldn't I want someone to do the same for me if I was ever in such a dangerous situation? As I've been going through my reasoning in mind, Devin has just been staring at me with a hopeful expression. If you need someplace to go, you can come to my house. No, this is the worst idea ever. Really? I can come to your house? I have a first aid kit I bought recently. I'm not sure how helpful it will be, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, that'll work fine. Sorry, I can't believe you're really helping me. Me. I'm not going to leave you out here alone or just hand you off to people you don't feel safe with. I really do want to help you, Devin. We stared at each other for a moment, assessing this bizarre situation that's been laid out quickly in front of us. But the look on his face, he seems so happy, ecstatic even. This just shows that I definitely made the correct choice, right? Did I even have a choice to not help someone in this much peril? Doesn't feel like I did at all. I try to push down any feeling of uncertainty and move on to the next objective. So we shouldn't stay out here too long, right? Isn't that kind of dangerous? Yes, you're right. We should totally leave right now. Devin's head whips around to survey the area, but he seems quickly satisfied. I think we're safe, but it's best to be careful and hurry along. Alright, then let's go. I instinctively walk over to Devin and lean against him, moving my arm across his back again. Nobody, what are you doing? You still need help with walking, don't you? After all this, I can't have you falling over on me. Of course, sorry, I nearly forgot and it surprised me. Devin moves against my arms and we begin to walk together again. Maybe it's from doing it before, but it feels easier this time. My house is just a few buildings down, so you don't have to wait too long. And then you can just stay with me for the night and call whoever you need to call in the morning. This is really too kind of you. I don't deserve it, but at the same time I can't reject the offer. Don't feel bad for it. I really do want to help you. Am I? Is there a reason why you want to help me? Or are you just the type of person who would help anyone? Devin's face looks a bit upset when he says this. Does he think I have weird motives? I'm not really sure. I just think if I were in your shoes, I'd want someone to look out for me like this. I bet there is someone who would do anything for you. Yeah, it's you. And he's blushing. This strange compliment makes my heart thump quickly in my chest. I try to ignore it, but it's soon all I hear. To distract myself from the noise in my own head, I look out into the darkness, trying to search for any stalking figures. I make sure we aren't being followed, and there doesn't seem to be another soul in sight. For the past few weeks, I've constantly been seeing moving shadows and feeling eyes on the back of my head. Yeah, it's Devin watching you. But for the first time in a while, I don't feel anything at all. I feel safer. And as I finally see the front of my house in view, I think the rest of this wild night is going to actually be okay. You've reached the end of the demo. Thank you, Nobody, for playing Invite Me In. Continue the game and see how the rest of the night unfolds later this year. The hearts above give a clue to the path you are headed on. Alright, well, that's it for the demo of Invite Me In. Endings right on a cliffhanger before things start to get serious. So yeah, I do want to see, where this kind of goes. I know, there is sort of a romance option and there are multiple endings in the full game. So, yeah, if you guys are interested, I'll leave a link in the description below to download the game, and you can wishlist the full game on Steam. So we'll have to wait for the full release. But anyways, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys later.